Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Night Live. Going to start with the official start of this broadcast, but we want to make sure and just check all our settings, make sure they're good. So give us just a moment, and we are going to be live. Hang in there. Just checking all the settings. If y'all can hear the audio like you normally do very well, just give us a little shout out in the feed there, in the live feed. Just let us know, yeah, I can hear you good. I can hear you good. Just want to make sure all our levels are good so we don't have to fuss as much. Sounds good. We can hear. Sounds good. Howdy, y'all. Sounds good. I can hear you. Everything's looking good over here. Audio es bueno. Fantastico. Mic checking. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Mic checking. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this broadcast. Sunday Night Live, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my house. Come on in, take a seat. It's free, and have a cup of coffee or whatever you like to have while we're sitting and enjoying one another's company as we have our amazing weekly gathering to talk about all things mental, emotional, and relationship health. We're going to straighten you out today, addressing all your questions, getting all to the nitty gritty, having a little fun along the way, doing some dance breaks, making you laugh a little bit. Maybe you'll cry a little bit. We won't make you cry, but you know, It could happen. And we'll try to have some fun along the way. I got some great questions, some great topics that I'm looking forward to addressing with you all here. Do me a favor, click that like button. In fact, smash it as hard as you can. Don't smash your phone. Don't smash your tablet or your computer, but hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and also the notifications, because from time to time during the week, I do have some lives that go on, and it's great to be notified when something is happening. You can also support these broadcasts by going to markdejesus.com, subscribing to our newsletter. And you can also, if you like, if you feel led to, if you appreciate it, for a brother to another brother from another mother, or sister to a brother from another mother, you can donate towards these broadcasts, one-time donation, or you can become a regular supporter as well. I also have a healing and freedom community I am building. Those who are wanting to make an investment to the next level. It's a site full of training courses, opportunities to jump in on some hands-on Q&As that are just great opportunity for me to pour into the lives of people, and also social interaction as well too. But this broadcast would just not be what it could be without the amazing, lovely, adorable, splendid, and sometimes also known as my assistant. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Melissa DeJesus, who is here in the house. Was I a good assistant this week? I think I did. Actually, well, there wasn't that much to do with tagging and all things, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, I think I did my job this week. So. The assistant joke is one of those you had to be there kind of things. And
no, it's awesome.
We've had some.
I love it so much.
We've had some fun moments where I've said, should I call on you as my assistant right now?
Right. I love it.
It's a great day. Good morning.
It is. And other people are saying too that they've had like sunny, nice days today. So
I did peek.
Yeah.
And I saw David Jenkins had some 70 degrees weather up over in the Chicago.
Yes. Hey, Dave, Dave did a 45-minute walk. We did it was almost 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at my Apple Watch like, oh, we have like 3 more minutes, but we could have did a couple laps in the cul-de-sac, but
that's true. That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, good walk is just awesome and nice weather.
Yeah, it's every day for me, and I love when
you are good.
I love when you join me. So
thanks, Boo.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. But we had a very eventful day, a lot going on in the family.
I know it feels like it's already been 2 or 3 days.
Working through a lot of things with our kids and teaching. So we had I want to talk about a worship song, a praise song that we used, and just a great little report in Max's journey. But
yes, if Lynn and Janata are in the feed, Lynn would remember the song from our church days.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it followed. I did some teaching and was got the whiteboard out and did the full.
He did. You did the white. Well, not whiteboard, but the white. Wait, no. Oh, I thought it was the paper. No, you're right. It was the whiteboard. Yeah.
So did that, which then led into a bunch of questions that kids went into, and we spent another hour going into a bunch of deep dives.
There was a lot of things. Conversation about the dinosaurs, pyramids, end times. It was a great conversation.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Then we had to pray through some things, work on some things with our kids.
It was a very full day.
Now I will say, Mark of old would look at some of those things and say, I got stuff to do. I got things going on. But I think there's something we have to learn in our life, in realizing what things in life are divine interruptions, meaning like this is the thing.
Yeah.
We get in our day and we're like, and so we had some things we had to deal with our kids today. And I had this thought, no, this is the thing. And even if we're late going to Sunday Night Live, that's fine. Whatever. We'll get to it when we get to it. The people are here. They're, and I honor everyone's time, but you know what I mean. Anyways, so going back to there's a song that we pulled up that was a great song when we would have our church services. We utilized a lot of
movement
songs.
Yeah.
We used a lot of songs that we would play, and we would have video to. We'd make them ourselves, and we didn't do the whole band thing. We just didn't feel to do that.
Listen, no one likes people that can't sing.
Right.
That it's like, ba-ding,
right,
and not good voices.
Right.
Listen, if you do it as a church, that's awesome. If you go to a church that they attempt it, that's awesome. But worship is just better when you can have, the actual songs or great words.
for me, it's so much work and so much drama, and so it takes there's so much, and there's so much performance driven factors. There's so much drama that can happen. Listen, I'm not against it. There's people who do it really well, but I said, why don't we get rid of the pressure of that? And let's just engage it, and we get some of the best musicians all around the world. Anyway, we use a song, and we would often get people to participate, do some motions to it.
It's a good one too, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to get people to shake out of their religious ruts. Because when we go through our life, we often have these religious ruts that we get into. And so anyways, this week, Max said to me, hey, remember that song we did with this motion and that motion? And he was describing it to me. I go, I think you're talking about, and we had to go look it up.
Yeah.
It was a song called Deep Cries Out. And it's a song by...
And it goes to the left, and it goes to the left, and if you go to the right.
Exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's it's based on the scripture of Deep Cries Out. And so anyways, it was memorable for him. It was locked somewhere in his memory, because there's a section in the song, like you said, they say, if he goes to the left, we go to the left. He goes to the right. We're going to jump in the river.
Oh, Lenny's like, yes, with hearts. Girl,
Here's what I liked about that song. What I like about that song is that it got people to kind of they'd get a smile on their face, and they were like, and we go, okay, everybody, you got to do the motions with us, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't too much. Like God's Great Dance Floor, we would get like a party up in there.
Yeah.
But
it was a bridge.
and people love that too. It was a good bridge, because it was literally just moving to the left or moving to the right. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, it was a little more than that, because it was, we're going to jump.
That's true. Lenny said people got into it. They really did. They would look forward to it.
You could just do this.
You could just do a bounce.
Yep.
Just a little house bounce.
Yeah. And it got most people. Couldn't get my dad to do it, but
Juan was no bueno for that.
But everybody else would get a little bounce.
Yep.
And and you'd see people through the song start to smile, and they're not taking themselves so seriously anymore.
Right.
So I encourage people, like, if you do some stuff with your family at home, look up that song, Deep Cries Out. It's Bethel music, I think.
Yeah,
it's a little bit older.
9 years ago. Yeah.
And just try it out. Just let loose. And so anyways, we did that today, and Max chose it. And I said, all right, buddy.
Which we were excited about.
Normally, he's pretty resistant.
He has a little anger. A little anger in the face, a little, like, sometimes a lip curl, like, I don't want to do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most, if not all the time.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about, Max, there's a thing when you're expressing it, that it's a great way of just expressing praise to God and really connecting to Him.
Yeah.
It's awesome. We don't force it, but it's like, hey, have fun. This is fun. And we try to look at a lot of things through that lens of like, okay, let's have fun doing it. And but it was interesting today. He just went for it, and he was lost in it, and he had his eyes closed, and he was kind of doing
his max bounce,
raise the roof.
Yeah, he was.
Oh my goodness. So anyways.
And you get in that, and I know those of you that are parents, you almost don't want to like acknowledge it because you're afraid it's going to stop. So yeah, it was great. Anyway, go ahead, babe.
So we get done with the song, and I just high-fived him. I'm like, Max, it's so wonderful you participated with it. And he said this, I think, somewhat profound statement, because he sat down and his eyes were still closed. So I said to him, I said, buddy, that was just awesome. He goes, yeah. He goes, I just closed my eyes and I pretended no one was here.
Yeah.
And I was like, It
made me want to cry. I'm like, okay. He was just really trying.
But isn't that interesting when it comes to just connecting with God in a corporate setting? Let's be honest. And you and I come from a little bit more in the Pentecostal, charismatic kind of lane of expression.
Some people are saying they're not allowed to clap in church.
Right.
Someone said, we're Catholic. We don't sing fun songs.
It's all right. So do this at home.
That's okay. Do it at home.
Do it at home. That's what we're talking about. That's what we did. So anyway, but what the number one factor, people will go, well, like in the comment feed, I'm, Baptist, we don't clap in church. Or I'm Catholic, we don't clap. It's kind of this established, here's the big one. I'm not really expressive.
I'm not into that. I'm just not.
But
I just like to stand here.
But you put them in another setting, and you
put them in a concert. Hey, now.
yeah, they get
Or a game.
They get the right tunes or their game.
They're like, yep.
They get very emotionally invested. So we're made to worship. But anyway, I just think it's
You're going to
interesting.
be worshiping in heaven, y'all. Better get used to it.
I just think it's interesting. He says, I close my eyes because the number one reason we struggle with expression is embarrassment.
Yep.
It's we can people can get theological, they can argue, they can debate. It's embarrassment. When you clap, when you shout, you raise your hands, it's vulnerable. You're expressing yourself. And in fact, you and I have shared stories when we were teenagers of how expressing in worship and someone looking at us, all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
It'll just take you right. I remember when I was a teenager and I was like, you know what? I really want to participate in this. And I had one of the older kids in the youth group just look at me. He didn't like give an expression. He just looked at me and it just took the clap right out of me. I was like,
I would say too, I think men struggle with that more so.
yeah,
They're like hands in their pocket. They're too cool for school.
Right.
You know?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It is. It's a big area where it's also a place too of not being used to exercising that aspect.
True.
And the church has gotten a lot of, senseless arguments about, well, this is appropriate, this is not appropriate. It says it in the Bible,
Right.
clap your hands and many, many times where that's there, dance before the Lord. So I looked at the scripture and said, okay, if I want to really be biblical, then engage God in that way. I think this is a big part of mental health too. Whenever I talk about this, the views and the interest kind of drops. People are like, oh, he's getting Pentecostal with this. And I'm like, this is a biblical thing. And I've seen active participation in just expression to God help my mental health. I didn't feel great this morning. I didn't wake up feeling wonderful. My joints were inflamed. I'm in that season where I'm just not doing great in that world. We went for our walk and then we had some time and I was like, you know what? However I'm feeling, whatever I'm going through, and I could see a state change happen right before my eyes within me of just going, I'm going to enter in, I'm going to express, I'm going to engage it. And I like Max going, I close my eyes and pretend no one's here. Because isn't that, even though you're in a corporate setting, to just focus in, this is me expressing myself to God. And it's just an encouragement to people in your journey that, hey, that's something that if my son can do it, anyone can.
Absolutely.
Well,
it was awesome. So
it was awesome.
Yeah, we were blessed by it.
Why don't you take a moment and just say hello to everybody in the feed?
In the chitty chat. All right, let me zoom up here. Well, hello, Andy, first person in the chat today. We are well. He said, I hope you and the family are doing well. Well, we are well. Margaret, hello. Is that a German name? Because I can't say it. I'm not even going to attempt. Maybe I'll have you try to say it. Can't say the German name. Go all the way to the top. It's the WAHR. Why don't you try to say it? I'm not going to say it.
Warhendarsten.
Okay. Boom. Maybe you can tell us if we said it right. Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
Where's my music? You gave me music to say hi to everybody last time.
That's the mixer I got rid of.
All right. We'll have a discussion about that too. All right. Jackie, Lori. Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Right,
Dave Jenkins, Chicago, Chi-Town, baby. 70 degrees today. Hey now. Tyrus from NC. What's going on? I am Kaya. Hello, my dear. Lovely to see you too. Estelle. Oh, lovely Estelle. Paul. Shosha. Kathleen. She is snowy northern Nevada. No, ma'am, with the snow. Paige. Sabrina. Iowa is abnormally hot. I know Iowa, I feel like when I think of Iowa, I just think of cold. I don't know why. Lori, Tim, Katie, Strawberry Brunette. Where's my music?
I gotta cue it back in again.
All right, ready? Are you ready? John
Pinchinati!
Marty.
Marty.
Under the Blood. The Marignano. Where am I now? Lindsay. Leandra. Alexandra. Ilaria. Oh, I like that name. That's pretty. Did I say Annette already? Chris. Where are people from here? People are saying where they're from. New York, New Zealand. Hello. The assistant, Melissa, thank you, Estelle, for that. Looking good. Chloe, why does my music keep stopping? Like, seriously?
It's only like a 30-second track, so then I have to.
Lynn and Janata.
Then I have to,
Olats.
cue it again.
Catherine, Kathleen.
I'll get you something for next
Jennifer
week.
Bailey, hi. Night in Battle, Aiden. Let's see. Oh, it just skipped down for me. T, Marie, Heart Fix. I like that one. Catherine. Okay, I think it jumped down to a good place for me. I think Bradley. Hi, Bradley. Elena. I think I got everybody. And if I missed you, wait. Rumble. How dare I forget Rumble. Margaret and Katie holding it down in Rumble. And Abby Ploop. I love that name. I love it so much. I think I got everybody.
Do you? And the music just cued.
Thank goodness. The music just helps. It's like a little ding, ding, ding.
I might lose some. I might get a penalty for it, but
I think, isn't it like 7 seconds? You can play.
No,
we may get a penalty.
Jam. They may penalize me, so. But that's how it goes. Yeah, that's the jam right there. Just a little bounce in your step. Just a little bounce. That's it. Now, how do I get? I'm gonna have to skip to the good stuff. Here it is. This is where you have to shout. So it's I'll bring it back just a little bit. Hold on, we can bring it right. There it is. YouTube's going to penalize me, so just those of you watching this later, it might make you skip over it. So that's just a gist. Give you the gist of it.
It's 15 seconds that you get for YouTube.
Yeah, you'd think. You would think.
Well, we went way over, so we'll probably get something. Although, I will say, I feel like Christian music.
I played stuff 5 seconds, and I had an alert come in.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lynn said memories. Yes, we basically did like a country line dance to this, Dave, in church, and it was awesome in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, we would have everybody just kind of do a little.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Just go and then a little. That's all you got to do. No big deal.
Yep.
And you would see the environment in the room just lighten up, and you'd see it's a study of how believers and just human beings we need intentional things to set our focus. It's like it's so needed, but we resist it. We pitch a fit.
This is I Am Kaya. This is the name of it is Deep Cries Out, Bethel Music.
Yes. Yep. So
I'll put it in the chat too.
Yeah, I want to take a moment to address some thank yous before we get into some questions. And I know you guys, you just really want a good Unda Da Blood, so I'll give it to you right at the top here. But there's two just really nice emails that I wanted to read to you all to be an encouragement to you. They're thank yous to me, but they're also an encouragement to many of you that are going through it. You're in the thick of it. You're trying to work through areas of your life and your journey. This one that came in, it was entitled "Blown Away." This is not a question, just praise and thank you and thank the Lord for all that you do. I learned last August at 57 that I have OCD. So some of you think, I'm older and it's too late in life. Sometimes I like to read those who write to me who are in their late 50s and their 60s and their 70s and write about the realizations they come to. Had it my whole life. What I used to think was all guys think like this. I have been through 4 of your audiobooks, many hours of video, and your articles. I have a 30-minute commute to work to absorb much of the material. When I'd been diagnosed with NOCD and started weekly treatment sessions, all while I was learning from your materials, I now check in every 3 months with them. ERP was helpful in understanding how OCD behaves, but God Loves Me got to the root of everything I struggled with. I'm so thankful and grateful to have a brother from another mother who has been there and knows what needs to be done to break through. I have so many breakthroughs. I can't wait to see what is ahead in this journey and for when we meet in heaven. Love never fails. Thank you, brother.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really appreciate that. That is.
Janata sent a super chat saying a YouTube feed coverage.
Thank you, my brother.
Oh, goodness.
My man. Appreciate that. I got another one here. This one's a little longer, but it's good. And I got a lot of joy out of reading it. Hi, Mark. My friend got me your book, God Loves Me and I Love Myself. And I just have to say it's helped me so much. So I lived 15 years of my life as an able-bodied person until June 2015. I tried to kill myself almost 9 years ago. I have improved significantly, but I always struggle with thoughts that are not good. And I've started to realize some real problems that I have because of that book. But actually, the Lord is revealing them to me also. I've just been struggling with self-hatred. And I believe she's quoting my book here. Self-love involves stepping into the purpose that matches my identity and calling, not what people put on me. When you really love yourself, you gain astronomical courage to make choices that respect, honor, and value who God made you to be. You see things better for yourself and your future. I refuse to let life tell me anything that God is not saying to me. Until I accept self-love and tell self-hatred to pack its bags, I will deflect the love that God sends to me. And there's another thing, I believe this is from the book here too. Loathing the life you have does nothing to heal. Love is the answer. But if you wait for it to land on you, you may wait your whole life. It is important to say yes to love in your heart, possess it for yourself, and walk into a better life. Love who God made you to be and rip off those hindering chains that bind you. It's time to take back what was stolen from you and take some people with you. I have to learn to stop blaming myself and start to give myself unconditional acceptance by loving myself as God's child. I have to learn to love myself for who God made me to be and not who people are trying to form me to be for them. And a lot of tears emojis as she's putting these statements down. So now back to the email. I even used to ask a super annoying question to my friends, asking them if they think they would have liked me better if they met me before my disability or now, or asking if they liked me before my disability better or now. And I'm realizing now that was just me reflecting my own self-hatred onto others by caring about their opinions of me. This book has really been eye-opening and it's changing my perspectives. I'm starting to love myself for who I am in the moment. And it's hard when I start to think of everything that could have been or how different my life could have turned out. But I see that as just me not fully embracing the love that Jesus has for me. Not who I could be or even who I used to be, but just me. Exactly who I am, because as hard as it is for me to accept myself and love myself like I am, his love isn't like mine. He has always loved me the same. When I was lost, when I was pursuing God wholeheartedly, when I was running from him and making bad decisions, and even now, as messed up and broken as I am, his love is perfect and has never changed. I've changed a lot, but Jesus still loves me completely and perfectly as I am right now, who I used to be, who I will be in the future. He sees it all and loves every version of me without wanting to me be different. I can't comprehend this love. It's literally mind-blowing. So the one exercise of saying I 100% totally and unconditionally lovingly accept myself right where I'm at has really helped me. I don't love myself where I'm at currently. I wish I was different and that I didn't make the mistakes that I made. But I've started repeating that to myself every day, and it has really helped me start to embrace who I am now.
Oh, wow.
Some good stuff in there. You know what I think? I think we need a little bit of fun in this.
Yes, I think everybody wants Under the Blood.
Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus cover me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you will cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, And the blood of Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Jesus, you will cover me. Say under the blood, under the blood, Jesus, you will cover me. Jump on bass.
Jump on bass.
Listen, Christian a fight some things where them not see. Stronghold demons and principality. Remember they are the temple. Keep it holy, sanctify, justify, give God the glory. Fighting against three terrible enemy. The world, Satan and myself against me. What the anointing pour it on me and make me trample the devil on it. Say, under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me.
Jump on bass.
No. You want to hear it? Drum and bass.
Jump on
Drum
bass.
and bass, listen. Christian a fight some, play low, let them hear me. Listen, I love it. The physical man can't fight no demon. Fasting and prayer fi build up the inner one. Well anointed convert the sinner man.
This
Bind
is-
the demon, rip up Satan. How you pollute the land with pure corruption. A warfare time, this a revelation. Thank Father God for give me salvation. Fill me with the Holy Ghost, it is an inspiration. Say, under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Jesus, you will cover me. Say, under the blood, under the blood, and me say, Jesus, you will cover me. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood of Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup.
That's what's up, everybody. That is what's up. That is what's up. So you're welcome to all of you out there. Make sure you go to whatever that video is, Unda Da Blood. You can look it up and, just click on it to show a view, to give them credit, because I don't want to pull any credit from that. We don't get flagged for that one, by the way, which is
interesting.
Which is great.
So the German-looking name, hold on. Where did he say how to say it? It's not a real word, he said.
Okay.
Hold on.
It's getting us lost.
Wait a second.
I just saw David Jenkins comment, Unda de Jesus, Unda de Jesus.
Where did it go?
Kathleen, that's an interesting statement. She says, please have an SNL summit and invite this band. I don't know that I'd get anything done. I think I would just
be like, let's just let them play.
I think I would just be like, jump on bass.
Right? I don't know where it went.
Let's see if you got it in you. Jesus, you cover me.
Under the blood.
Right on. You just like right on cue.
I am.
All right, so we didn't figure out what
It's in there. I'll find it.
Wundestar and
No, no. Now it's gonna bug me. Hold on.
Warhendestar.
No, wait. Hold on. Where did it go? Dave rewrote it, but he wrote it all together.
Vorhestarting?
No.
Time for bed.
I don't think that's no. No, sir. Hold on. Where did it disappear? Where did it go?
Warhendarstein? It's your bedtime.
No, that's what he said. It's not a real word, so I just pronounce it as Vir Hendai Arstein. I tried.
I put a lot of American into it. I'm like,
yeah.
Warhendarstein?
Yeah.
It's time to.
We tried. That one, listen, we like fun names that we could probably yell. That's not going to be on the list. So
I don't know. If
you're going to try to yell that.
If we got another dog, maybe, that'd be kind of fun.
No, I'm saying when I say hello to people.
Oh, right.
What are you talking about?
Well, you said, not.
I meant in the chat, the names.
My bad. It's all right. That's all right. I'll get it together. I'll pay attention.
Goodness.
All right. So let me get into some questions, stuff you've sent in. If you want to send it in, markdejesus.com/questions is the place to go. We'll keep an eye out for super chats as well, too. There is some definite nitty gritty I'm going to get into. This one is about eye contact, social anxiety, and feeling invisible. A lot of directions I think I could go with this. And to be honest, I think a lot of us could relate to this. So I want to speak into some of the things I see here. And this is from a sister in our Healing and Freedom community. And I mentioned, I want to bring this into the live. And I get to address a lot of questions in there in the community. We have regular Q&As that they can come in and We can even communicate back and forth. So it's a fun way for me to invest at a deeper level. So let me get into the question. I would say I'm more of a quiet person. Now, I'm going to say this. In general, I relate to that too. And I did a whole video on introversion and stuff like that. And I definitely lean into all those aspects, all those criteria of introversion. But I do want to encourage my brothers and sisters who say you are more quiet. Embrace that, love that, appreciate that. But also let it be stretched. Because many of us can get into our places where we get stuck into certain labels we put over ourselves. So I may be more of a quiet person. And I say this to my kids all the time. I say, who are my best friends? And, besides your mother, peace and quiet. They're my two best friends. And I call on them often. Anyways, side tangent. Let me get to the actual the meat of this question here. I've always been, and I would say I'm more of a quiet person. I've always been, and it's been a struggle for me to express myself verbally. And I would find that a lot of what I'm doing in my work is not only helping people to identify what they're feeling and working through, but also to learn how to interpret it. And part of that is a journey of learning how to verbalize what we're going through and what we're feeling. And if you're somebody who says, I struggle with that, some people, they write really well, but they have a hard time talking it. Or some people they can talk about it, they can't seem to put the words together and write it down. And I think that there's a variety of ways that God's made us to communicate our feelings and communicate our struggles. So talking out things is such an important aspect to practice. In fact, in James, he talks about a bunch of different battlegrounds, people suffering, people that are sick, working through sins in our life, trespasses, battlegrounds. And he talks about, confessing your trespasses one to another, that you may be healed. And I know people get obsessive with that, and they, like I have many times in the past, taken overboard, you become compulsive about it. But there is something beautiful about learning to talk, have someone listen, have someone talk, and you listen. This is something we all as brothers and sisters need to practice every day of our lives in maybe settings of people that are just acquaintances. You learn to talk. You learn to listen. In deeper settings of people that you want to get closer to and have a great relationship with, right? But on a regular basis, this is probably one of the most valuable things we could learn and practice for mental health. And God designed us and wired us for it. And so, yeah, at the same time, many of us have a battle in this area. It's a struggle. It's an absolute struggle. Insecurities, rejection issues, our neediness, our sense of intimidation, our fear, all that stuff comes to the surface. Anyways, getting back to the question here, one pattern that I've noticed is that in groups, people often look at each other and talk, but avoid eye contact with me. I feel invisible, and I know it affects my self-esteem to the core. So I crave eye contact as it signals belonging and connection, but I feel I must make myself worthy of someone's eye contact by forcing myself to talk more and be more extroverted, which creates more anxiety and social situations. Now, here's my take on this. I think many, many people struggle with this to some extent. The eye, sometimes they say the eye is the window to the soul. The eye is a place of connection, right? So I know I spend a lot of my time staring right here, right? Now, I intentionally do that. I intentionally look up here, even though I may have notes down here. I don't have any notes here today. And I got this over here. I got a screen over here, right? And I may be looking, referencing. I want to keep my thoughts organized, but I make an effort to look up here at the camera as much as possible. Why? Because I know that I am having, and I know this is a one-way communication. I'm communicating towards you. I'm not able to listen to you, but there's power in me making eye contact. And I know that that's not a real life thing, but I know that as a tool, this video is being used to that. When we talk and share, eye contact is an important thing. It's also something when we're insecure that our eyes often struggle to do that. Our eyes often go down. We get our posture can often match what's going on inside of us. All right. Many people can even, they don't make good eye contact if they're lost in themselves. They're talking about themselves and they're lost in what they're thinking. They kind of do this. Or if they're very, very insecure, we kind of get, our body language reflects that, right? So the first thing I wonder, you're in a group of people and people often, you say they often look at each other, but they avoid eye contact with you. I wonder, follow my trail of thought here for a second. What happens is all of us carry these wounds in our life. And I talk about this in Exposing the Rejection Mindset, where areas of our life have not been filled with love properly and rooted properly, rejection takes residence. And what rejection does is it often looks at things to validate that we are rejected. So there's two scenarios here. Either A, everyone's talking to each other, making eye contact, and it is factual that when they do that, they're looking at you and they're not, they're talking to you and they're not looking at you. Or there's a wound carried historically. When we have rejection wounds, we often look for the thing that our battle is riddled by. So for example, one of the wounds I carried so much in life is not being listened to. And so because of that, I would overtalk and try harder, try to be funnier, try to be this, try to be that. Put a lot of pressure on me to try to do that. But at the same time, I would project people are not listening. I was looking for it. I would look for a moment when a person's not paying attention anymore, and it would spiral me. See, they're not listening. I would either take it as dismissal. I would take it as disrespect. I would take it as something discouraging. It'd affect my worship leading. It'd affect my preaching. You look out, someone's checking their watch. Someone acts, disinterested. And so in either way, our wounds, we often look for what our wounds say. So this is important to understand. Rejection looks to be rejected. So we could be in a room of 100 people. 99 of them are very nice and pleasant, but that one person does something that hits our wounded history. Maybe it's they don't look at you, they don't pay attention. I wonder, in your life, is there a history of not being looked at? It's something historically that you carry. And I would say so many of us carry that kind of wound of just not being, because looking is part of, I value you, I'm paying attention to you. And here's a big thing for a woman's heart, especially, I see you. It's a big deal.
Amen.
It's a really big deal, right? So this is all rising up. Now, we have two options. Either it's really happening or you're looking for it and noticing. Either way, the healing journey is the same. That's what's right. Because but what we have to recognize is whether it's really happening or whether we're just perceiving it, we have a radar for it. Do you notice that people can do all kinds of things that don't bother you, but there's certain things that do bother you, right? If you were to look at your day, there's about 100 things you put up with really well and more, maybe thousands of things that just don't bother you. They bother other people, but they don't bother you. But then there's that one thing hits, right? And it goes right to a core nerve. Why? Because that pain has history in it. It has a story. It has narrative. So that nerve ending has a pathway back to something that goes back to your history, goes back to your heart, goes back to your journey. Because you wrote here, I crave eye contact. And I'm gonna affirm that is a normal thing to ask for eye contact. I would want that. I would want to see that happen too. But what happens is the crave, I pay attention to words. So understand that. You wrote, I crave it. And what happens is if we want it so badly, we'll get easily disappointed because our tentacles, our hearts, our perceptions are wrapped around it. I need you to look at me, and I'm going to look at you to make sure you're looking at me. It's going to, just like me going, I need you to listen. I need to see that you're listening. Until I recognized the rejection wound and how I was bringing my neediness to the room, to the situation, to the interaction. Part of healing is recognizing this wound is projected everywhere, and I need to heal that, let go of it, and let go of my looking for it. And I'm going to walk into a social situation, and I'm going to accept these people may or may not pay attention to me. So I'm going into this YouTube thing that it may get a lot of views, it may not. It may be wonderful, it may not to people's perception. And people may get it, they may not. I'm already going to accept. There are people that may not listen, may not get what I'm saying, may not pay attention. I'm going to, if I'm walking into a situation, if I accept the situation as it is, I'm less prone to looking for my woundedness or looking for a possibility of somebody being a threat to hit wounded areas of my heart. We become hypervigilant around our woundedness, don't we? We look for it. See? And because what rejection does is rejection wants to be rejected. So it creates a partnership with fear to scan the airwaves relationally. So I'm going to go into a room, and when I'm talking, is everybody paying attention? Because if not, I'm going to lose my peace. Instead of going, some people might, some people not. And wherever people are at, they're at. So now I let go of that need for somebody to have to fulfill it. But then over time, I'm going to go, this person's easy to talk to. I think I'm going to continue a relationship with this person because they're really easy to talk to, and we connect, right? Now, the people that, check out or don't pay attention, right? No offense, but we're probably maybe not going to grow, and I'm not going to maybe share as much with you. But it doesn't own me as much. Okay, so let's get back into your story here. You feel invisible. So this is revealing to me in your journey, there's been a theme of you not feeling seen. And it can cause all kinds of obsessive behavior. It could cause you to over-try. It can try, most of the time, it'll cause you to try too hard. The other thing it will cause you to do is go, forget it. Forget it. People don't care. They don't care. What's the point, right? Kind of goes into either one or both of those directions. I got to do something more. Say something more. Try harder. Be funnier. Be more spiritual. Or forget it. Why even bother? When we recognize the rejection, we let that go. I'm loved where I am now, and I accept where people are at. It doesn't mean I'm going to keep sharing with them. Because listen, if I'm in a room of people and I'm trying to share something and someone's, not showing at least a little bit of paying attention, I can accept it, but I'll go, yeah, I may not share with that person as much in the future. I'll just kind of, I want to direct my energy where it's fruitful. I think that's very, very important in understanding our healing journey. So I crave eye contact as it signals belonging and connection, but I must make myself worthy of someone's eye contact by forcing myself to talk more. So you go into that try harder mode. And what that signal says is if people will give me eye contact, then I will be okay. And so that hard line equation puts you in a rough spot because people are goofy. They're going to let you down. They're not always going to be, even the good eye contact people, then there's some people who, they have too much eye contact. It's like too much staring, like easy, bring it down a bit, all right? So for you try harder to be more extroverted, which creates more anxiety. Yes, because it's too much pressure. You're trying too hard. And I want to encourage you to make an effort, but watch when you're trying too hard to make something happen. So you said, does anyone have insight how to navigate this? Should I work on not caring so much that people ignore me? I think that's a exhausting route to take. I'm just going to not, it's like when people go, I'm just not going to care what people think. Okay. Not care. I'm going to not care. Here we go. I don't care. It doesn't work, right? When we yell it from the pulpits, don't care what people think, care what God thinks. And if you care what people think, it means you don't care what God thinks. It's like you're just kind of just hitting people on the head with a baseball bat and going, why is your head hurting? Yeah. It's not helping people. Of course, we naturally care what people think. We were born with caretakers who care for us, and we have a sense of caring what they think, and they were meant to fill that tank, help teach us, and we grow and develop And yes, you have a care what people think. When Jesus was praying in the garden and his disciples fell asleep, he got upset. He goes, can't you guys pray with me for 1 hour? A lot of modern preachers would have jumped in and said, Jesus, you care too much about what they think. He's like, no. Jesus said at the Last Supper, how I long to be with you. Before this big thing that he's about to engage is going to happen, he needs connection. So stop it with this, I shouldn't care what people think. Can we all just stop that nonsense? It condemns people. It defeats them. Yes, you care what people think, but it's driving you too much. If I see a rude, mean comment, I don't sit there bulletproof like nothing bothers me. Every day of my life, I work at it. But a big part of it is me working on my rejection issues and realizing certain things hit me in certain ways because of my history. And God, you're working on the history and the healing of my heart in those areas of my life. And I'm also accepting, that's where people are. I'm accepting that I will run into people who don't care, are not caring, will disagree with me, will not like me, and whatever. The list goes on and on. As you love yourself, the way that God loves you, you start to, and you're more accepting and validating for who you are within. You start to look at other people and accept where they're at. Now, this is what I mean by that. People always get confused, so I always feel like I have to add definition to it. There may be things in your life where you're not a safe person, you're not a great person to interact with, and so I'm not going to make a choice to invest relationally there. Accepting someone where they're at doesn't mean I'm going to invest in relationship with you. It means I'm not going to get as entangled because of your goofiness, because we're all goofy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of if these people are cliquey that you're hanging around with, they're probably more lost in themselves and not being aware of it. Now, I do find in my journey, not to make this superstitious, okay? I do find in my journey, the devil often orchestrates scenarios to keep your rejection theme going. I do notice that. I noticed in pastoring, there'd be like certain people that just, they were ignored their whole life. And that in this story, and we'd be at a social gathering with the people in the church, and my wife would go, hey, you ignored so-and-so. And I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, you just walked right by them as though they weren't even there. I'm like, oh my goodness. You see these moments happen, and sometimes you'd go, man, is there something in the air? Because people would be, right? And not to super spiritual warfare it, but there is an aspect where the enemy wants to perpetuate and keep the momentum of our brokenness going. So that, I'll be in more situations where I've been in, how many, I could go on and on about the situations I've been in where people have ignored me. And then as I started to heal and let that pressurized expectation of looking for it go, I noticed more of that not ignoring happening. It was a very interesting phenomenon that took place. I feel like you have something you want to, did you want to jump in?
First of all, a couple things. The sentiment on like being around people that carry a lot of rejection, it's like you end up rejecting them. Yep. It's the weirdest thing.
It is weird.
You and I noticed that after a while. Now, this is something that when that question came in, I was like, oh, this is a great question, because I totally relate to it too. And the, rejection wants to be rejected. So everyone's acknowledging like how great that is.
Yep.
But I know the way it manifests for me is, and I will do it a lot of the time, even here on the podcast, is I'm like, no one wants to hear me talk. And I'll talk really fast, not really look at the person in a conversation. Just, they don't really want to hear what I have to say. So I dismiss myself a lot out of situations. That's something I've had to work through a lot, especially being married to you, because people want to talk to you. They talk to me to want to talk to you. Like, that's something I've had to work through, of not feeling rejected in that. And like, no, what I have to say is important. Or in a conversation, no, someone's talking to me because they want to talk to me, and not have to give in to that rejection mindset, because it's a nasty one.
It wants to create.
Did that make sense what I said?
Yes. Yeah. It wants to create a loop where what you started with comes back and it ends with that. So what I mean by it, so like you said, nobody cares what I have to say. So then you might say something, but or you step out and talk, and then we look for, I don't know that people are really getting it or not, because it's pushing that. Then it comes back and goes, see, what I have to say is not really important.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear what I say.
Right.
So it keeps that feedback loop going over and over again.
Yep.
And so then I'm looking for it.
Right. And the whole eye contact thing, it's so true about those of us that grew up not being seen, right? That's such a big thing. And I think for me, when I came to that understanding, that was huge. Of like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and I have to work on it, dismissing myself out of situations. I can be in the doctor's office and I'm like, oh, I'm taking too much of their time. I just need to quickly get out what I need to get out and get out of here. And like, I'm paying them. I'm paying to be in the office. Mm-hmm. And I'm like quickly going through. So I'm like, okay, let me, you know what? I'm just going to not take as much as their time. Even though we have an hour here, I'm not going to take up as much as their time. I'm just going to say it quickly so that I can just get out of here because they don't really want to talk to me. They're over me. I need to get out of the office. That rejection thing is nasty, especially with the eyes. So even if the doctor's office is a good example for me. If I'm talking to them and they look down to even if they're making a note, I'm like, oh gosh, they don't want to hear me talk anymore.
So let me ask you this. So in the first part of what you were saying, mm-hmm. over politeness can come from a self-rejection place. Where like I'm going to be polite and kind of over, apologize, or I'm sorry, because it's coming from a thought that's self-rejecting.
Right. Oh, people are saying they can run late. Thank you guys. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's awful. I've always told you, I think since we've been together, like I want to be that person that just like slides into a room like, hey, everybody, I'm super cool. And hey, you want to chat? Look them right in the eye, not have to look down. I'm always looking down, looking down. Drives me crazy.
Until we realize a lot of those kind of people are sociopathic.
What do you mean?
You said
all the people that are too cool for school and slide in a room and slide out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They just look you right in the eye. They're like, like
hey,
nothing bothers them.
I don't know. Are they?
Yeah. But there's not many people that are that.
So, okay.
I think it creates a standard that's unrealistic. I think everybody has a dimension of this that they wrestle with. It happens in certain areas of their life, or they might be fine over here, but then over here it comes up, or maybe they feel it everywhere.
I don't know. This is I think we should have in school, like a class, conversation practice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not many people do this very well.
Right. Actively listening.
And when you grow up in a home with narc parents where they just talk about themselves, or like trauma, complex trauma, all the things, whatever, all the things we grew up with. I don't have to do the list. I do think that conversation is a struggle. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, I do think that there isn't an element of like going to college and getting around people in your own field and likes and things like that. I think those things help to become a good conversationalist.
Yep.
I would say it's taken me a long time.
Yep.
I don't know that I'm the best at it, but I'm trying. But conversation stuff can be hard if you're not used to interacting and volleying with people, especially even in your own family. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I could go on and on about it. Oh, the German name person said we did a conversation thing once in school. See, you should do that more in school. It would help kids.
That's great to hear. Warhenderstein?
Stein.
I'm going to call him Warhenderstein.
There you go. Looks like it. Why not?
I think this is something everybody has an element they can learn and relate to, because mental health is improved through interaction.
Right. And being seen.
Yeah.
Such an important thing. Anyway.
As a side tangent, I see this statement a lot when they talk about therapy. And a lot of times they talk about talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, for example, is one of the names, fancy names for it. Basically just, talk therapy. There is principles behind it. There's training behind it, et cetera. But people say, what do you do when it doesn't work? And I don't believe in the mindset that talking effectively doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Prove me wrong. You know, and I'm just kidding when I say that, but I think because we don't understand. Now somebody says, okay, therapy didn't work. What they're really saying is me and the person interacting, A, didn't have a good fit.
We didn't jive.
B, I wasn't ready to go through maybe where that person was leading me.
Okay.
I don't have the skills. I don't have the tools yet. I don't know how to talk. Like if you get somebody, I've had people come into my office years ago who they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to talk.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like, okay, I got to think, okay, do I have the investment in time to work with this person?
That's true. You did walk that through.
Long term, because we're going to have to, I've had people go, I want you to walk out of the room, I want you to come back in, and I want you to pretend I'm a stranger and you're going to practice talking to me. I've had
people do this. We all need this.
I had one guy, a younger guy, come in and I said, you know what, let's go outside for a minute, go sit by the park bench, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got to build rapport here. I'm not here to like fix you. I'm not here to like lecture you. I'm here to build connection because that is where life change takes place. That's why I'm such a strong believer. We need to activate our ability to talk one to another, to listen, actively listen, communicate and share, respond to what's being said. And then here's the key, folks, for all of us, is give yourself a pat on the back in a good way for trying, not because you did it perfectly, because communication is an art and there's no such thing as perfection in it. It doesn't exist. It's not perfect. But it's something you have to actively learn and process in your life. So anyways, this talking thing is the space where healing is available. But a lot of people beat themselves up because here's the next part of the question here. You said, she wrote, should I work on not caring so much that people ignore me? I talked about that already. Or do I work on trying to be more outgoing, which has always felt so foreign to me, in order to be more accepted? No. This is not about trying to be more outgoing. You can end up trying too hard. It's more about taking opportunity where it opens up. So if I walk into a room of people I don't know, I am not going to walk around like a politician and be like, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How's it going? How's it going? Now, if I'm hosting the event, yes, I'll do that. You know, if I was hosting something and people are attending there of something I initiated, yes, I'll go around and talk to people and meet them. But if I'm in a place where I don't know anybody, I'm just going to kind of slowly walk through and see what happens. I'm open, but I'm not forcing it, right? And that's something that it takes time and practice, because there's been times I tried too hard. I overtalk and I want people to like me, and I'm doing too much.
And you have the yuckies and you're spinning later and going over it all, and that's not fun either.
And people with OCD, you can do that a lot. You can do that a lot. And then I realized trying is awesome. And just the fact that I took an attempt to have a good social interaction is good. If I was too much, okay, in grace and sobriety, I'm going to be aware for learning. If I do that in shame, I'm not going to learn. I'm just going to want to get those feelings out of me as quickly as possible, or go back and fix it, or tell the person, did I overtalk, or get reassurance. Am I doing okay? Right? Instead, just going, okay, let me look at this objectively. And maybe next time, I just hang back a little bit and not try so hard the next time. I think a lot of what we don't factor in is that people are not always the greatest people to interact with. The majority of people that you see if you took everybody you interact with, the majority of them are A, thinking about themselves, not working on themselves, and not the greatest to interact with socially. We kind of forget about that. And it's not to blame everyone. Oh, that person was terrible to talk to. Put all the blame on them. We all need to work on ourselves. But we need to take these things into factors as we're processing. So you said, I feel like I'm trying to control their behavior by being more extroverted. Yeah, I would say you're trying to control them to make eye contact with you, to then be okay. And that's the pathway. I'm not going to interact with the goal of getting them to make eye contact with me. I'm going to create a new goal. And the new goal is I'm going to be open to connection. We're going to lessen the pressure off of it. It's like trying to hear God's voice, right? I got to hear God's voice. I got to hear it. Take the pressure off of it. And I'm gonna accept what is right now and take simple steps forward. So you just stretch yourself just a little bit. Maybe if you'd go want to just sit in the corner, be by yourself. Okay, you know what? I'm going to introduce myself maybe to one person. I'm going to try talking to this person, see what happens. And maybe it's just a start. I know belonging and acceptance shouldn't ultimately come from humans, as they are an unpredictable source of love and are uncontrollable. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, but also no. In the sense of belonging and acceptance shouldn't come from humans. We communicate in Christianity. Don't care what people think. You shouldn't get anything from man, only get it from God. I think that that's dysfunctional because Jesus didn't model that. And he was perfect and sinless. Sinless guy. And that's why I say, expectation, hun, that he wasn't just floating through. He got upset at things. He saw certain things. He wanted certain connections to happen and take place. He understands that pain. In fact, he took ultimate rejection upon him on the cross so that A, he's acquainted with our struggles, but B, that we see the humanity of our journey as well too, that you were made for connection. Jesus said, the mark on your life, and they'll know you're my disciples, and the love you have for each other. That means you got to have a lot of times of interacting with each other. So I think this expectation of not expecting or not wanting in your life a sense of belonging and acceptance. What we want to be aware of is where we the neediness of it takes over, where now it's the focus of our lens. It's now driving what we're looking for. And loving acceptance goes, okay, I'm going to kind of let that go and just let this interaction happen. I didn't feel like they were looking at me. Okay, it's all right. I'm feeling it's kind of triggering some areas of my pain. It's okay. I'm working through. I'm going to stay in the game, but not over try. So I'm leaning towards practicing being aware of the love of God and letting people's behavior towards me not bother so much. Okay, here's what I would tweak there. Instead of saying not letting people, and I'm going to lean towards me and letting people's behavior not bother me, let's tweak that. I'm going to accept that not everybody's going to react to me the way I would like. I'm just going to walk in. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to live more from just appreciating what I get. That's a great social empowerment there. I'm going to focus on appreciating what I get versus on focusing on what I don't get. Now, if there's people in my life that I go, yeah, for example, if I have people, every time I talk to them, they're not making eye contact with me. There might be one time where I'd be like, hello, try a snap out of it kind of thing.
Oh my goodness.
Put the church lady on him.
Oh, she needs to tell it like it is.
About to slap you right now if you don't start making some contact of the eyes here.
Or there may be some of that, but then I may go, yeah, this person is not a person to connect to in that way. And now you make choices relationally to move in new directions. Mm-hmm. So that's my... I took a lot of time on that question.
Well, because so many people relate to it.
I agree. Do you have any other thoughts you want to add to that?
I don't, because I think it was awesome. But I just want to say that our Uncle Paulie and Sarah gave us a coffee super chat.
Oh, Paulie, thank you very much. Appreciate you, brother.
I have another one too. Hold on.
Lots of love.
Josh, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, accept self and others because I am deeply and completely loved, honored, and accepted by Father. Praise Jesus. Amen, Josh. Oh.
Amen.
Thank you for your super chat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's take another break.
Do it.
I want to
So
ask
good.
a question. I wonder, is there what's the cue? What's the cue to bounce? It's all on it visually looks like, is there a jump leader? Is there a person?
Is there a certain beat? Is
I was
there
trying
part
to
in the song?
I was trying to watch, is there a conductor in this in the sense of there's that famous clip, and other people take it and have changed the music to it's funny. They put like Charlie Brown music and some of the things, but the way they all just like went into that, I was trying to see, was it the singer when he's looking over? Is it like, all right, now
Here's the cue.
Yeah, you wonder.
I don't know. It's good.
Yeah.
Back to the question for a second, because someone posted this question in there, and I would say I 100% relate to this to the point of almost getting angry. How many of us choose to look someone in the eye when they are walking past us? Looking at them in the eye almost guarantees if they're looking back to say hi, if they smile. Let me tell you something. This one gets me. Mark and I go for our walks, and sometimes there's like a house where they have a crew of cars where they're out working on it, and everybody's out doing their cars. Other people, they'll look up and just acknowledge. You have two people walking towards you. You're right next. You're not even 2 feet away from me, right there on the curb. You could just, hey, and I like I'm like leaning in, like a hard lean, like, are you going to acknowledge me? Like,
Yeah.
we had someone walk right past us this morning and just kept their head down. Did not, other people, because I'm big, like Mark and I walk in some of the areas don't have a sidewalk. So we are somewhat in the road, but
Yep.
to the side.
Yep.
And if cars like do a good, like a good round, I give them the wave, thank you, acknowledge me, acknowledge. I can't stand it when you go by somebody and they don't look at you.
I think it's a big problem, and I think
Yeah.
it's taught. I think this
So,
needs
Lori,
to be.
honey, I get it.
This needs to be taught. You need to
Yes.
make eye contact, because the walking thing is a very simple thing. Now, I have heard, and some of you in Europe tell me this. Europeans, I have heard Europeans say Americans do a strange thing, and they say hello to strangers. But I do believe it's a polite thing when you walk by somebody. How you doing?
How about the nod?
Yeah,
An up nod?
Guys do that a lot. It's like this.
A nod?
It's like this. That's just it. It's just eye
Okay.
contact and a little, yeah. It may be like a little, so, how you doing? You doing?
Right.
Yeah.
I like the,
It can even be a mumble,
let's go.
Good morning.
How's it going?
I think
Hey.
everyone needs to,
Go ahead.
because when you make eye contact and it's pleasant, it helps. So if you're walking down the street, for example, and some people can be nervous, right? Is this a stranger? I think if you make eye contact, it opens up, hey, there's safety here.
Yes.
Looking down and over makes it say, this is
I feel
dangerous.
like you're shady if you're not going to acknowledge me.
Right.
Do I have to keep looking back? If you're not going to acknowledge me, do I need to keep looking back and make sure you're not following me? I don't know.
Yep. Jesus will cover me.
Under the blood. On a side note, totally, I just looked down and saw the comment and I'm dying laughing. Dave Jenkins said he just realized he's been spelling tambourine wrong and now he's going to spin. He is so funny. Oh my goodness. But yes, the sup, just like a nod.
Yep.
Give me something, people.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. Yeah, show that openness, relational openness.
Thank you.
It doesn't have to be weird. So eye contact isn't staring. It's not, you don't have to have, a full-on conversation. It's just showing you, I think safety is shown in just being an open person that's like, hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? Be mindful of people. One thing I would change, we could go back and change a lot of things
What would you change,
in history.
babe?
When I, especially this comes up in coaching sessions when I talk to people, is especially those that are driven or high performance, or I'm dealing with pastors, is this whole principle. I would have spent a lot more time walking slow through the crowd. I found in my church, I was in charge of basically the whole church service, sound, lights, video, singing, music, the order, everything.
Start laughing.
And-
I'm thinking of you. Just walking slowly. I'm sorry.
You're not.
It just made me want to laugh.
Oh, you're not getting it.
I hear what you're saying, but it made me go into like you thinking that you're like, what?
Well, I'll explain. So, anyways,
Yeah.
with all the pressures and all that, I would go back and forth from the sound booth to the platform, just back and forth,
Yes, you
flying
were
through.
a busy bee.
Very
Yes.
with a lot of like.
I can't be bothered. I got bigger things to work. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I
and
will
so
say yes, you did carry that one. We weren't dating yet or whatever, but you had that like, I'm busy. Let me just keep it moving. Yeah.
Yeah. And a part of it was there's a lot of like internal anger. Like, don't you people know I have stuff going on?
Yeah.
And people would say hello to me and I'd kind of like, hey, but fly by. I would have spent more time walking slower in life.
Acknowledging people. Hey, how are you?
Through the crowd of just saying, hello, how are you? How are things going? How are things happening with the kids? Because that's more my wiring now. I would spend way more time not running past my neighbor when I was, leave my condo and go to the car. I can't be bothered. I got to go to church. It's like Christians come under this. I gotta hurry up. I'm doing the Lord's work. And it's like, no, that's really more the Lord's work. I would have spent a lot more time just more slowly being aware of people.
Yeah.
But, in the modern church world, it's like he's running lights, he's running sound. There's no time to get to know each other. There's no time to know what people's battlegrounds are going through. It's like, nope, we've got this thing that we're working towards, and that's it. And I look back and I go, that wasn't really that important. The lights. Yeah, I was told I got to get those things on point. It was, that was, communicated that, but that's no one in history goes, you know what? Those lights were just awesome. The timing was so great. They may say that song was great or that sermon was great, but most of the time when I hear feedback from people in my history, it's how I made them feel how they felt being around me in certain moments of talking to me, having a one-on-one moment.
Yeah.
And you know what the interesting thing was? I'm taking a rabbit trail here.
No, go ahead. I like this conversation.
The things that people remembered from me historically in times of pastoring was how they actually felt being around me. Yes, there's people say, man, I appreciate your teaching. And I would sometimes go, which one? And you know what they would often tell me? The messages I gave that are on my bottom 5 worst moments in my life where I felt like I wasn't in the best place mentally. I wasn't present. I was all over the place. I felt like I was rambling. I remember a kid from my youth group who he was challenging. He had his quirks about him, but I met him as an adult later on in Walmart. And he says to me, "Hey, I want to let you know there was a message you gave. Really, really changed my life." So I go, which one? I'm thinking, I got my top 5 in my head. And he picked one from the bottom 5. And it was one on spiritual gifts that I gave. And it was during a time in my life where I had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like 19, I think at the time. I'm like, how do I explain these things? I'm like looking up. There wasn't much Google at the time. You could look up and just research and stuff like that. And I fumbled my way through it. And he goes, God spoke to me that night. He felt God spoke to him saying, you know what? You have talents, you have abilities, you need to use them. And I was like on a night where I just wanted to get out of there. I'm like, can we just close this and go home so I can start over tomorrow? Because this is, this is terrible. And it was in that I had like a realization. That's God works in your weaknesses and in these simple relationship moments.
Yeah, and if you didn't take time to talk to him, you wouldn't have known what impact you had.
Right. And that was more valuable than anything else. And so I saw that both in my youth work with teenagers. It wasn't so much the sermons and messages or how fun things were.
Yeah.
It was when we had moments together. And that's what they remember and keep in their life. And that impacts our emotions. That impacts our mental health. That impacts our journey more than anything else. So, yeah.
That's it, boo. I mean,
all right.
all the things.
Let me get into obsessing about future suffering and persecution. I'll change the subject here. And we'll take a hard turn here. Hey, Mark, thank you for all you and Melissa do to pour into so many people each week. I think a lot of OCDers can relate to this question. How can we handle stories about persecution towards Christians in a healthy way? Specifically, stories of Christians throughout the world being persecuted for their faith. I came across an email from a popular ministry that gives voice to the stories of persecuted Christians. Now, when I was reading this, I was like, I already said in my mind, was it Voice of the Martyrs? Yes, it was Voice of the Martyrs. I can already see where this is going as I'm reading it, and when I looked at it before, this is not just an OCD thing. I think this is a common thing that Christians, especially in America and cultures where you have some room and space to practice your faith. And what we do is we look at what we're struggling with and what our battles are. And one of the ways we dismiss what we're going through is going, well, there's people dying in other countries for their faith. What am I complaining about? Now, there is sobriety in going, other people do have it worse. But I also find it's a form of self-dismissal. It's a way of looking at yourself with contempt to go, well, what you're going through isn't as bad so it dismisses anything you're going through, and we self-reject. It's a big part of this. I'm honestly not sure how I got signed up for their email list.
That's funny. Meaning
the Voice of the Martyrs. I think I remember seeing that at my parents' house too. I'm like looking at the magazine like, oof, like what's this magazine about? My mom's yelling out, Christians that are dying. Like, okay. Oh my goodness.
Oh, goodness.
I'm tempted to throw my parents under the bus for a moment.
Oh my goodness. That is so funny.
I'm hesitating about whether I should share this next.
Because you want to take it further. I know you do.
Well,
I feel it.
It brought a memory.
It
brought a memory of when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to promise myself I won't spin about this later because this is a sensitive subject. But this is something that happened to me as a kid. I was in the backseat of a car.
Oh, okay. I know the story. I know where it's going. Go ahead.
I think we're on our way to church.
My tea. Mm-hmm.
I think we're on our way to church. And I hear it was either my parents talking about it or it was on the radio. I could be which way, one way or another. And the word abortion was mentioned. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting in the back seat, and like any kid does, I go, "What's abortion?" And my mom just blurts out, "Killing babies."
No.
And I went,
you're like,
so my imagery
traumatized.
was, somebody, there's a baby. I was like, oh, this is not a great way to be introduced to the subject. Right. So, killing Christians,
right.
I'm like, I'm a little kid going, oh my goodness, with my anxiety, and my sensitivity and spinning. Right. So anyway, back to that. I can't even look at the stories or read the articles because it immediately brings me these immense feelings of despair and vulnerability. Like God has chosen these people for overwhelming suffering. I think it plays into OCD fears that if persecution came to my door here in America, they were threatening to kill me or my family, I wouldn't be able to stand up for Christ and let them do horrific things to me or to those I love. I have a feeling this person watched the End Times movies too.
Yes, they may have watched. Yeah.
With the guillotines and all that kind of stuff. I have a feeling. Let me know. Mm-hmm. Let me know. Okay. What this is you're trying to look into some possible scenario and you're going, how do I feel about this? It's like the person who struggles with relationship OCD and they go, okay, do I really love this person? And they test it out. They go, okay, what if they died and they got hit by a car? How would I feel? I'm trying to imagine how I feel.
Left Behind.
Right.
That's the movie. I always forget
there's a bunch of them. It's Left Behind. It's A Distant Thunder. It's Mark of the Beast. This is old school 70s.
Dave Jenkins said that guillotine movie messed him up at the age of 8.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You want to know around when I got some healing from those movies?
When?
Probably age 30. That's how long it took me to get over those.
Those are yeah.
Yeah, it was not fun. So anyway, so it's kind of like existential questions. You know, where is this? What would happen? It's like, what if? What would I do in that scenario? And it's like we want to have a perfect sense of what we would do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll give you somebody who answered it.
Okay.
And he answered it wrong. Peter, Jesus, I will never do this.
Right.
And Jesus was like, bro, you're not sober right now. Yeah, you're gonna deny me, bro. You know? And he's like, I will not. So lesson learned, don't try to project what you're gonna be in some moment. Instead, live here right now. Live here in this place. This is the place you want to be, right here, present, right now. Now, this is how I taught in church life, what I taught the church in the early stages of transformational heart work. As I shared my story of anxiety and fear, is letting people know the world is run by fear. People are dominated by fear in various forms. Work on your current fear, anxiety issues now. Work on whatever's in front of you. That will prepare you, friends, for whatever's coming in the future. So I was talking to the kids about it this morning because we were talking about the whole pandemic thing and the COVID thing. I said, remember what we went through with it, went through with that? And I'll bring you into this.
This is really
I said,
good.
remember what we went through with that? Mm-hmm. And I said, do you know what helped Mom and I not get taken out during that time and not freak out? And Max goes, because you guys knew the government was lying to us.
I go,
okay.
High five, bro.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I went over. I said, okay, first of all.
Oh, wait, Max is listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, first of all, high five, bro. But that's not where I'm going with this. I said, because we're not going to keep feeding fear in our home.
Right.
So rule number one is don't be afraid. Now, where did I get that compass? Where did I get the compass in 2020 to go, everybody's freaking out? And where did I get the compass to go, we don't have to feed the fear in our home?
Right.
Where did I get that? I got it from 2004, 5, 6, 7, what is laid out in my material called I Will Not Fear. Mm-hmm. Working on those issues helps me to then be a voice during the time when everyone's freaking out and going through. And so it's real-time illustration. Like, we as a family are going to seek to live sober. So sobriety says, right now, there's people in other countries dying for their faith. And I think it's helpful when you're aware of it, be prayerful. I think many people, what they do is they take that information and dismiss what they're going through. And I think, let's be grateful for freedoms that we have because people have fought for them. Because what happens is that kind of thinking dismisses you from the gratitude of what you do have right now. But also facing the anxieties because that you currently have, because that's going to prepare you for what's ahead. Because God knows the journey that you're on. And I think I do see in our country where there's going to be more and more resistance to the people of God. It's very obvious, very evident. And I can say that soberly. And if that brings up a wave of anxiety, then let it direct you to go, okay, I have current anxieties in my life. I need to just keep working on and working through facing my fears because it prepares you for each stage that God has for you. So those people that faced that and stood up to it, they, in their journey, what they carried, they were ready to stand in the midst of it. And you'll be ready to stand in the midst of it too. Just don't try to predict your future and how you're going to act. That just gets you lost in places you don't need to be. Be in the here and now. So I wouldn't be, it ties into end times obsessions that many of us have. Yes. Mm-hmm. Most end times obsessions are wrapped around, A, need to know, B, a control to box in. I have the perfect sequence of how I know things are going to happen. And C, it's fear-based. Now, a lot of fear-infused stuff. Oh, get ready. Jesus is coming. Oh, get ready. Judgment's coming. So, for those, the emails all say things like they were tortured for 14 years in prison daily and saw their family killed before their eyes, but they never lost hope. My brain went to spin on how in the world do you never lose hope in that scenario? Yeah, I don't know if they never lost hope at all. Sometimes people can say magnanimous statements too. Like, never for 1 second did I lose. It's like,
I don't believe that.
I think people need to be honest.
Right. It's like how we talked about Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Like if you look her up, read her writings. She constantly, first of all, doubted that God even cared about her. If he was real. Like she went through so much and we view her as like the holiest connected person.
I see a lot in people's communication. They don't communicate the journey. They kind of communicate the victory and communicate it in this amazing, flawless process. And
yeah. You know what? Dave just brought up Viktor Frankl's book.
Viktor Frankl?
Is it Frankl? I thought it was, yes, Frankl. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
Good book.
Because he lays out what he went through.
Yeah. I thought it was fascinating and encouraging. So let the people who go through that encourage your faith because they've been through something. Somebody who's gone through a message from why do people listen to those who listen to what I say and appreciate it? The majority reason is because of what I've been through. It's the majority reason. Mm-hmm. And so our experience and our journey is a blessing for others. So let it encourage you. If it dismisses what you're going through, that's not what it's intended to do. Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. I only did 2 questions today.
You know what, too? I just want to, kind of the same vein, but adding something to it. You've been very good at where I will do that and I focus on what other people are going through. And did you see that? And, then I spin about it. And you're like, we weren't really meant to know.
No.
That stuff.
No. Our brain was only designed to know.
You're not really meant to know that people are being imprisoned somewhere in a third world country. And we're not really meant to know that. Like, you're really meant to know what's going on in your community. Mm-hmm. Pray for that, your family first, because really we're not paying attention to that. We don't even know what's going on in our own houses. Pay attention to that. You shouldn't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Social media has informed us to a detriment in many ways where we know too much. And then many Christians feel guilty. I should be praying for, well, normally you wouldn't even know what's going on over there. Mm-hmm. Pray for your leaders, pray for your family, be aware of what's going on around you. Love your neighbor as yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the sweet spot of living there. We weren't meant to know. And it creates this excessive stimulation of burden, and it also feeds negativity and fear. The 100%. world, for example, many people, think a lot of things about, crime is worse, things are worse, when statistics say in certain areas, crime is a lot better. But because of our access to media and the way things are presented, it creates this.
Not the stuff I see every day, let me tell you. No, sorry. You're like, yeah, that's all.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness.
Any super chats you want to acknowledge?
Let's see. Mm-hmm. Another name I can't say. Rock Goju didn't say anything, just gave us a super chat.
Thank you very much. Yeah, David. Dave, I agree. You say we were meant to travel by camel. You said I love Mark's phrase. We were meant to travel. Camel.
Slow it down, y'all.
Camel travel. That's what needs to happen, folks. Mm-hmm. This is great. Please do us a favor. If you love these broadcasts, consider supporting them. We got tons of free material. I have 800 plus, last time I counted, videos that are out there for free for your journey. Take advantage of that. If you feel it's a blessing, consider a one-time donation. Go to the donate button, or you can put it on reoccurring donation. You can also go, if you want a deeper investment in your journey and have access to great Q&A stuff and great training material, the Healing and Freedom Community is available. You can click on the community button on my website, and I'm currently teaching on the OCD healing journey. Some more material went out this past Friday, and I'll be digging into that some more this week, and looking forward to interacting with you all. Appreciate all the great questions. I'll get to more in a future time. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. This is your brother from another mother
And your sister from another mister.
saying I'll be back with more insights for your healing and freedom journey. But in the meantime,
We out.